Kiss the Rings.
He's third in the nation. That's a pick and roll and a block at the rim.
It's hard to be surprised, but I'm still surprised. Like, it's crazy. We know Adam's shooting 50% right now, so if he missed one, the next one go in.
Trammell, head fake kick. Seiko again. Oh, you can't leave him alone. In traffic. Seiko, ball fake, three. Yeah! Layups. Trammell. Seiko. Oh! First. Scramble. Seiko again. Oh!
So this time he made 6 for 6, 7 for 7. So it's like you know he could do it, but it's like when it's happening, it's still like alien-like. So Adam, one of the best shooters I ever played with, he know that.
What's up, Aztecs Nation? It's a special Sons of Montezuma Podcast, Kiss the Ring show today, episode number 98 officially. So if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button. We want to keep building our home here on YouTube with more and even better interviews and shows. But if you prefer the audio only version, be sure to follow on Spotify, Apple, iHeart. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, please give us a positive review of the show, or a negative one too. We don't mind reading constructive criticism as long as it's, snarky and entertaining. We here at Sons of Montezuma are NIL creators ourselves, having partnerships with both Lamont Butler and now Nathan Mensah for their own apparel for sale on our online shop, sonsofmontezuma.com, and also our online store at shopify.com. It's something that we're obviously crazy proud about, being able to create for the guys to market themselves, bring more attention to the basketball program, and of course us as a clothing brand. Especially with Nathan Mensah, because being an international student athlete who, according to the current structure of NIL, he cannot actively participate in NIL spaces like what our next guest offers. So right now, we are one of the few ways that you can support Nathan in his final year here on campus. So when that merch drops, please show your love and get those tees. But on the total team scale, the MESA Foundation has stepped up to create an organization that not only supports the players with NIL revenue, but connects each of the players with the greater San Diego community through acts of service and just overall fan engagement possibilities. Every time I've come across somebody representing the MESA Foundation, I've seen them out at games, roadies. I have to say, like, the energy every time I see them, they just have about, a passion of what they're doing for Aztecs basketball, and it really shows. They have a real mission about what they're doing. And so when Jeff, the president of MESA Foundation, reached out to us and wanted to share who they are, and with all you Aztecs fans, I was all about it. So stick around, get to know the group that you're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more about for many years to come. I really believe this is something that all Aztec Nation, we need to get around, rally, and support them, and really make this a part of the Aztecs basketball culture. So let's get into it. Okay, Aztecs fans, so I have the pleasure of being joined with today. You guys have probably seen the MESA Foundation all over social media and everywhere out and about in the San Diego State community. And we have the pleasure of Jeff Smith, the president of the MESA Foundation. So it's good to finally sit down and talk a little bit about what you guys are doing there, Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm great, Mateo. Thanks for having me on. It's good to finally be on with you.
Okay, so first things first, everybody wants to know, what exactly is the MESA Foundation? We've been seeing a lot of it. So give us the rundown on exactly who you guys are, what you guys do.
Well, I'm first of all, I'm glad that you said you've seen a lot of it, because we're working hard to get our name out there. So MESA Foundation is an organization that was created in response to NIL. We are not like a lot of other NIL entities. Ours is a complete charitable-based, community-based nonprofit. A group of folks, including myself, that are part of MESA are all big basketball fans, Aztecs. Having heard a little bit about what NIL was, the exaggerated stories of things that you'd seen in the news about some of these higher profile athletes, I, along with a couple other guys, Peter Ilya, Tommy Morris, Tom Newton, had some curiosity on what San Diego State was doing about it and started asking some questions. And understandably, the athletic department was hesitant to really have a position on it. I think they were concerned on what did it mean for them? Was there going to be competition with groups that would be, these words that are given to these booster groups at startup were called collectives. Could collectives work together? What was their role going to be? What we did know, though, from talking to the coaches, and I've known the coaching staff for a while, as have the other folks involved in MESA, that NIL was quickly becoming a part of their everyday conversations with existing players and with recruits, to a level where it was as much a part of those discussions as anything else that they talked about. And they were convinced that if there wasn't a pretty, serious, predictable partner that was created in response to NIL for the basketball team, that the program would face some issues and potentially suffer as quickly as this year, certainly into the coming years, because, as they have these conversations with the athletes, the existing players even, and some of the players that are thinking about coming over, it's a part of those conversations like anything else. Like, am I starting my, freshman year? When I transfer, how much playing time do you think I'm going to have? What do the other players look like that are going to be on the team next year? What's your NIL situation? You guys over there know NIL, you're participating in it, which is awesome to see some of the athletes that you've signed up. And I'm really, really excited for the basketball players that are part of that with you. Ours is a non-exclusive agreement with them. We want them to go do free market endorsement deals. But as you know, there's some unpredictability with that income because it's about sales. And,
right.
And that's really how most NIL deals work, where ours is we're 100% donor driven. Every penny that we get in is based off of people deciding that they want to support the program and understand that program is going to suffer if as Aztecs, we don't respond to it. So it's a long answer to what we are, but that's kind of what we are in a nutshell. We're an NIL organization that connects the student athletes, the basketball team, with different charitable events and organizations in San Diego, and they bring their name, image, and likeness to bring awareness to charities like ALS Walk. Got a Boys and Girls Club clinic coming up in a few weeks. We're doing a couple big clinics for intertribal sports. Obviously, a huge Native American community in San Diego. I think there's more Native American tribes in San Diego than any other county in the country.
Wow.
And so we've got a big camp with them in June. We got a big camp with Camp Pendleton in July or August. We're really trying to connect with the things that are important to San Diego.
So what do these camps consist of? Like actual instruction by the guys showing, different skills?
Yeah, that's the cool part, So as much as you and I love the Aztecs, there was kind of this understandable wall between the fan, the supporter, even the donor, and the student athlete. You get to know the coaches a little bit, depending on how involved you are with the programs and with the school, but you're really not supposed to establish relationships and get to know the players. So as an NIL collective, as a group that really functions on connecting these guys to these different clinics, we get to know them, and we get to bring them into these situations where all 11 of the scholarship athletes, excluding Nate Mensa, you and I were talking about it before we started this up. Nate can't actively participate as an international athlete in NIL, but which is a big bummer because he's such a great guy and everybody loves him. But all of the other 11 scholarship athletes are going to be conducting the camp, along with the women's athletes are signed up, the basketball players as well. So 6 of the women and all 11 of the guys will be there in February, and the same thing for the other few camps, which is just a really cool thing to think about them running these youth camps. And then one of the board members is DJ Gay, former Aztec legend, point guard back in one of the many, many good runs that we had on the Mesa. And DJ is a huge youth basketball. He's a high school coach now up in LA, but he ran a big club basketball program down here for years and years. So DJ is going to be running it. We'll have other well-known folks involved in it, and yeah, that's the deal. San Diego Youth, not just Boys and Girls Club, can sign up for that February camp. Still have some spots available. And, the ALS walk's another one of those things where they were out there bringing awareness to the walk. They were out at the food bank distribution event at Heaven's Church in Spring Valley over the holidays. And I can tell you of all the things that are going on with what we're doing, in addition to the effort to try to bring awareness to what NIL really is and how important, having a predictable partner like MESA is to the success of the program. The thing that people say unanimously is being around these guys is an amazing experience. You watch them on the court, they're athletes. You don't really know them as people. You've probably gotten to know Lamont and Nate as people, and they're just, I don't know that this is always the case, but the 11 guys, the 12 guys, and the non-scholarship guys on the team, and the ladies on the women's team, they're all just really good people. So it's a cool thing for fans and alumni and supporters to get to know them.
Awesome, man. A lot there. I love the fact that you guys are nonprofit based. So it really gets the young guys out in the community, like you said, breaking down that wall and being able to relate with the community, get to know, and there's that trade-off, right? So the community gets to know who they are. But for them, it's a unique opportunity in their college experience to get to serve and get to know people in the community. I'm not sure if you were aware. So Mike Minares, who is one of our content creators, he writes a lot of our basketball game preview articles and kind of studies the opponent as we're about to play them. He's actually a member there at the food bank. So he had an opportunity to interact with some of the players. So it's just a unique opportunity. He's part of the staff there. So, it touches a lot of people on many different levels. And, we're all part of the Aztec, San Diego State community. So something very, very cool tidbit there.
Within the last month or two, we've gotten really kind of endorsement and sign off from JD Wicker in the athletic department. We have a lot of conversations with JD and the rest of the folks in the athletic department, and they've had enough time to go talk to other athletic directors and other conferences beyond the one that we're in, maybe the one that we're going to, and others across the country. And I think what JD is now completely convinced of is that, you have to kind of embrace this, and that if you don't help go promote it and communicate the importance of having a predictable NIL entity like MESA, then we're not going to succeed, because people won't get that you can't just sit here and hope that the team's doing well because we got Coach Dutcher and Velasquez and the rest of the coaching staff, and things have continued like Coach Fisher started up, 20 something years ago. What happens going forward with the basketball program is to some extent outside of their control. It's interesting to hear them say it. We've had a couple of different situations where the coaches have gotten up and talked in front of a group of different supporters. And I would encourage people to go on our website and they can hear Coach Fisher talk about, the critical nature of it, because, it's effectively NCAA said, here's NIL, and for good reason, right? It's a really good thing for athletes. But at the same time, the byproduct of that was the school can't do anything about it. The coaches can't do anything about it. And both of them would. If they could run NIL and pay the athletes for doing things, this, they would do it, but they can't. And so they can't have anything to do with it besides now they know they can promote it. But yet, if that thing that they can't really run isn't successful, then the thing that they do every day, running an athletic department and coaching these guys and recruiting the guys and being good at what they do, runs a risk of not being successful. So it's a crazy situation that the more we have the opportunity through you and through people who love the Aztecs and are followers and get it and love the basketball program, can hear it, really understand that, this is a situation where all of us have got to step up a little bit. And then the thing that we talked about is pretty cool that comes from that. You get to know the players. You go on the website, you see the different subscription levels that we have for MESA. where people can give certain amounts of money, and based on those decisions of how much they give, you'll be invited to meet and greets with the players. You can request personal video messages from the guys. There's an opportunity to really, really connect with the team that you care about and know that you're making a difference, because it's no joke. It's a different world. And if we don't get this right, then things are going to change. So we got to make sure we get it right.
So as the listener, if you're wondering how can you find out more about the MESA Foundation, you just got to go to mesafountationsd.org. And everything Jeff's talking about, like you said, is right there on all the different giving tiers. It looks like you have a white, red, a black, and then a founders club. So a lot of different benefits to each one. Obviously, they keep getting greater as the more your donation level goes.
It's interesting. I think the difference with us is that and other, most of their NIL generating groups is that we're completely nonprofit, and not just nonprofit. Nonprofit doesn't mean that people run it. Sometimes people misunderstand that the nonprofit sometimes makes money even if they're a not-for-profit, but we don't make any money. This is 100% volunteer. So with the exception of marketing and a website and the various events, and we'll have, back to those tiers, depending on which one you join, we have monthly memorabilia giveaways, which we all have autographed basketballs by the players, coaches, Coach Fisher, Coach Dutcher, some pretty cool stuff. Some of those things are just, they're expenses for running the thing. But beyond that, nobody makes anything. And this is all volunteer based on people loving San Diego State basketball. So I'm less concerned about saying, what our financial situation is. I like to compare it to all these crazy stories about the millions of dollars that you hear, these different athletes making. And, as you would probably not be surprised by, our version is a much more modest San Diego State-like version. And, to be very blunt, the way that this started, as I said before, was through the conversations with the coaches in the athletic department, and the coaches saying, we need help. Can you and some other guys get this thing going? They're the ones that really delivered the structure of what was going to be important to them. They didn't want any dissension in the locker room. This isn't a story of Matt Bradley making more than Micah Parrish or Elijah Saunders, freshman, right? Everybody who's a scholarship athlete gets paid the exact same. It's a huge, huge priority for them because, again, one of the things we love about this team is, man, they play team basketball. We know them as being, a team that gets after it on the defensive side because they buy into this team concept, and we didn't want to do anything about that. So it's really walking around money. It's a modest amount. It's not thousands and thousands of dollars a month. It's significantly less than that, rather than telling you the specific amount. But I will tell you, when you get to know the guys and you get to talk to the coaches, you hear stories about the reality of scholarship athletes. It's obviously a blessing to be a scholarship basketball player or an athlete on any level at San Diego State or elsewhere. But what they get and what that means to them, all of these guys, for the most part, have to go home or have to get jobs during the summer, and they need to be around to play and practice during the summer. So, once they move off campus and they're no longer in dorms, there are a lot of stories about guys not having beds to sleep on, not having any of their parents come see them play basketball the whole time they're at school at San Diego State, because it's a lot of money to bring your parents from different parts of California or other spots in the country. And so, this makes a difference. I've been to 2 different away games, and I've seen parents of the players who have come up to me and said, this is pretty meaningful for us to actually go see our son play. So, the stories of what these guys really go through, and the rigor of being a scholarship student athlete. You got to be a student and you got to be an athlete, and you got no time to go get a job. So you try to do what you can over the summertime. And this kind of helps that a little bit. Back to the reference to the videos on the website, Mateo, I don't know if you've seen them, but for the people that are listening to this, go on there and listen to the players' videos and have them talk about what MESA Foundation means to them. You'll hear a lot of those kinds of stories.
Well, it's one thing. You got some definitely some great people in your corner. You already mentioned DJ Gay, and I saw a video there. I believe you have Coach Fisher involved, and obviously you guys supporting the ALS, the cause there and the foundation. So a lot of the necessary, steps have been taken. The right people are involved. And I think anybody who sees what you guys are doing can see that it's a genuine effort, to compete in such a competitive NIL landscape that's very new. And so, yeah, just encourage all you watchers and listeners, definitely support this. It's to help both basketball programs, which is also very cool. We're big proponents of the women's team, and they're having a great season. So what are you looking for as far as some of those nonprofit groups to have the student athletes volunteer at?
We have a certain range, a number of them that we want to do over the course of a year. So we got to keep in mind that they're athletes and they're students, and so we don't ever schedule anything around finals, and we don't schedule anything around conference tournament play. Conference play, we've done a few things in between things, and we will do that. So within the limited time frame, and then nothing over the holidays, within that time frame, we probably have a range of, I would say, 5 to 7 different events. And when we started out this thing, we thought about what were the most, the things that stuck out. Well, ALS was an easy one because of Mark Fisher, because of Coach Fisher's son, and what that's meant to the San Diego State family for such a long time. The other, I thought, kind of easy ones were really youth-based programs. The Boys and Girls Club will do multiple clinics a year. Native American tribes was right up there at the top of the list of things that made all kinds of sense because of what it means to the community. And then the military presence in San Diego was a big one. So admittedly, we're only 4 months. We've been working on this for about 9 months, but we're only 4 months old. So we are open-minded to different events. We're having conversations. I find that, like with the ALS walk and even probably with the food bank effort, it's very cool for the guys to be at the food bank, but the folks that ran it were just as excited about what their social media presence was going to mean to their cause, because they got so many followers and people follow the basketball program as much as they do. So I would say that we are open for business, and we're open to ideas. We want to try to affect as many people in the community as possible. There's a natural connection with the youth because these are athletes and they're larger than life figures. And, the men's and women's basketball team will be an amazing group of coaches at these clinics, unique experiences. But we're open to it. It's really about things that are significant in San Diego, that mean a lot to the community, and that are logical fits to have the men and women bring awareness to.
What are the guys on the team saying on their reaction to doing these community service, projects?
Yeah, they are conscious of the importance that being a part of the community has on their lives as young men, and their lives as going forward, the experience that they get to feel, the impact that they're bringing to the community. Back to some of the stories about their families, when I would have conversations with various parents of the players, the things that they talk about, one, they're grateful for being able to come see their kids play, but they also were really thankful. Your question's a great question, because I as a parent, my youngest is an 18-year-old. I know that if my kids were given the opportunity to be a part of the community and community service, I know what that means to them as people and kind of their growth as young men and young women, and I would have been excited about it. The parents of the basketball players share the same perspective on it. They're grateful that their kids are getting how important it is to give back. And again, those videos, we do what we can to capture what the guys are saying, but you'll hear that from them in those videos. And then anybody who ends up being a part of MESA and signs up and is at any of the public events, you'll hear that from them. They're just grateful for not just for MESA and what that means for them financially, and taking a little bit of a burden off of things for them as these student athlete demands that we talked about earlier, but they're just grateful for the way that we're going at it and the opportunity to be compensated through being a part of the community.
So what have you learned about the athletic program through this effort that you may have not known before getting involved?
Well, I would say a couple things. I have a high level of respect. I think it's the guy at the top of the organization that always gets kind of looked upon negatively for any little thing. And I don't know if the same thing holds true for the way that people look at the athletic director, but I can tell you, after having gotten to know JD and Kurt and the athletic program and the directors over there, we're lucky. You know, they're incredibly capable, as evidenced by the fact that they pulled off that stadium as successfully as they did. But you got a smart group of really capable, dedicated people. Man, they are incredibly dedicated. So we got the right people at the helm. You know, they are 100% bought in on what we're doing, and they want to do what they can to help us be successful. I'll also tell you that, you know, having been nothing more than just an Aztec and a donor and a supporter, you know, the process of getting the word out and getting to the community, you know, if this is a related answer to, you know, what do I know more now about the athletic department than I did before? Not an easy thing to get people to say, okay, I want to help. You know, we all love being fans. But what we love about our team isn't just that they're Aztecs and they're in San Diego. We like that they're pretty good at what they do. You know, tough to follow a loser, a perennial loser. But when you got a team like the Aztec basketball program, both men's and women's, it's as successful historically as it is, you get kind of used to it. You know, trying to communicate to people, as you said, Mateo, NIL is new. So you got to deliver the message. People have opinions about NIL, you know, paying amateur athletes. I don't like it. I don't know that I really like it either, but it is what it is. And I think as I'm weighing the outcome, what's more important to me is that the team that I love and that I really want to make sure that they continue to be successful has every opportunity to do it. And you know, as a broken record kind of reference, as you hear from Coach Fisher, as you hear from JD and the athletic department now, as you hear from Coach Dutcher and Coach Velasquez and everybody else, if this isn't successful, that's going to change the way our team performs on the floor. And we're not asking for something huge. We're really, you know, again, you asked me what the amounts were. We're not talking millions of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars to these athletes, just a little bit. When it's enough for them to be able to check a box, the coaches, when they're having conversations with the players, they want to be here anyway. San Diego, it's the Aztecs. It's an awesome place to go to college and play basketball. But there's other really cool places to go play basketball. And when they have competitively, when you're talking about Pac-12, when all of those schools have very robust, driven donor bases who are ready for this NIL deal that are a little bit ahead of us, you know, it's a little scary in my opinion that we're you know, for us to be able to compete at the level that we've been performing at, people need to be aware that for the first time, really beyond just being fans and supporting him at Viejas, which is huge for them, we got to do something different and step up a little bit, and we get something for it. We get to know them. We get to know that we're making a difference with the team. But, you know, that's a tough part. Of all the things that I'm learning about athletic departments and their jobs, getting people to understand that, you know, being passive and supporting it, you know, those times have changed a little bit. So I hope people hear that message. There hasn't been anything, and I would include Title IX, that's changed college sports like NIL has. And, you know, it's less than a year and a half old, looking at some of the programs that are already immediately successful. And, you know, make no mistake about why that's occurring. That's occurring because those schools have gotten ahead of this NIL response. And that is what it is. So it's like nothing that we will have ever seen. For the time being, this is the direction that it's going. You know, we don't operate in the Southeastern Conference, so ours is a different playing field. And we got the right people, both athletic department and coaching staff, making decisions on how they want NIL to impact the program. We just got to respond to it. And I think rather than being skeptical about it and wishing it had gone away, if we can kind of look at this as an opportunity to embrace getting closer to the program, having the program really look at us as a huge component of what they do day in and day out. You know, I know that they do. And I think if people can kind of make that decision and take this opportunity, you're going to get a chance to meet the coaches. You're going to get a chance to meet the players, and it'll change your already existing connection with the basketball program to a level that I think I can tell you, speaking personally, has been pretty pretty fulfilling. So I'm looking forward to where it goes. I'm looking forward to more and more people being a part of it and understanding it, and being at all of our events, getting a chance to meet the guys, and hearing, seeing more people walk around with Mesa gear on and spreading the word.
Sounds good. That sounds good. We'll definitely want to encourage everybody who's watching, who's listening, go check out the Mesa Foundation, SD.org. Jeff and everybody there are doing a great work. You know, whether we go to whatever conference it is, you know, hopefully the Mesa Foundation will be there growing along with it and just promoting, you know, these experiences, these life-changing experiences, both for the community and for our Aztec basketball players. All right, Jeff. So Mesa Foundation, SD.org. Jeff, we appreciate your time coming on and informing all of us Aztecs fans about what we could do to get involved.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really appreciate it. We got a tight community here. Everybody's been supportive, and this is going to be a good thing. And you know, go Aztecs. So appreciate the time.
But James Ray Hines catching out those two, and even driving down if he's not looking at shoes. A-Dub, Sling 2, catching all the deep balls.